So you have the pencil tool. Remember, it's the letter N if you leave the part of it over at the top there. Resetting, you can reset the fill and the stroke. You can take it from up here as well. You can give the stroke a little thickness, because right now it's just going to be the line itself. So as you take a look at this character, and as you add pieces onto this file, you can just simply download onto your screen. But just so you can kind of get an idea, get a little practice at it. Just kind of giving it this little sketch here. It's a very stylized version of a dog here, as we've been drawing them a number of ways through it. Kind of building this section up. Again, if you change it, you can undo it. You can use the profile to help you modify some of this. Kind of a crazy looking section there. And then taking the selection tool, direct selection tool, highlighting this part up at the top here, has the parts that will give it a width profile. And again, using the direct selection tool, where you can adjust these points or shapes, or create your own section again as you use the width tool, modifying some of this, and trying to get comfortable using the shapes, the tools themselves, adjusting these parts as it goes, selecting certain characteristics. Inside the selection tool has this selection that lets you make it go around, so if you want to adjust this part, placing it in. So it's simply putting that initial selection in there. The other sketch, just trying to do it now with the brush tool. So when you take a look, the brush is right beneath this, and again you have 7 points with this selection and this texture. So when you take a look at it, it's drawing it with that brush tool right away. If you increase the size of the brush here, builds it up to the top there. And this one, just kind of having you draw this kind of a still life using this tool, and drawing this egg section in there. It takes a little getting used to it first. Blending out with that. And again, these brushes are still on a path. So when you take a look at it, you can kind of see how it's brought together. And the coloring of this, so when it's deselected, you have the brush. You can increase the part for that. Taking a look at the coloring. Again, if you select the pieces with the coloring on this part, here's the brush itself. You can kind of see it has that texture, so you can always go back into the brush and just create the oval that it is, give it a little bit larger point size, and that gives you that coloring. So again, one option, you can draw on a separate layer behind it, and you also have these options here of drawing behind the shape. So sometimes it shows up behind it, so it gives you a little bit of variation, and trying to keep it almost as a fluid method. The same idea as with the brush. Using the bracket keys, you can make it larger or smaller, the brush itself. So you can kind of simply get into some of that. You can kind of see how this is sketched across. This is going behind the shape, and that's located right down here at the bottom of the toolbar. And you can always switch back. And again, these are now still, this is still a brush stroke, but it has the feeling that it's the path itself. Also in the color, when you pick the color or the color guide, any color that you choose gives you the basis with the tints and the shades to it. So now you can start to color this. Keep in mind that's going on top of it. And if I want to use the part that goes behind it, taking a lighter color and just kind of lets it become shaded. You just have to make sure you double click on this to bring that color forward. And again, the bracket key brings it down and lets you start to paint with it. So it's kind of a free-form feeling of your drawing. And Illustrator lets you start to paint a little more lucid with that part of it there. And that's the bracket key, one larger. So give that a try. It's just on a couple sections there. File sent to you. That'll give you that section, so it's a little bit of a drawing with the brush and the pencil.